One of the most overlooked upgrades for an AE86 are sway bars, and I say that from building these cars for over 15 years. A lot of people tend to upgrade the coilovers and leave the sway bars stock, relying only on stiffer springs and shocks to be able to improve the handling of the car. But for me and my car, this is a street car, that doesn't quite fit the bill. While they do improve handling, they reduce ride quality. So what I like to do for a street car is a little bit softer spring, a little softer shock tuning, and upgrade the sway bars. That way, when I'm driving around, going over bumps, it's a lot more comfortable, and then when I turn, the sway bars are activated to reduce the body roll. In this video, we're gonna go over upgrading the sway bars on this, as well as hopefully fixing an issue I have with the car, which is probably caused by a poor sway bar setup to begin with. It's odd for me to have, you know, suspension related issues because I've got a lot of really nice parts on this car. I've got annex coilovers, the Swift springs, absolutely love them. They feel really, really good. They do things really, really well. I also have every single Just Engineering suspension arm for this car with their street style angle kit, and that also feels really, really good. The problem that I have is that if I'm turning, maintaining like a constant speed and a constant steering angle, not steering in and then back out, the suspension is doing this like jello kind of a thing. And the reason why I'm going after sway bars is because, well, with all of the awesome upgrades I have, there is currently no front sway bar. And then if we go to the back, you'll see there's just a stock rear sway bar back here. I describe it as this jello kind of a feeling because it does this like back and forth stuff where, like, if I'm doing a turn in, turn out, constantly accelerating or decelerating, the suspension stays loaded up just fine. But it's when I'm like going from one freeway to another freeway, you know, those high-speed off ramps or transfer ramps, that I set my steering angle, I'm just trying to stay there, and I could feel the car kind of do this. Suspension loads and unloads, loads and unloads, loads and unloads. And I really only started noticing this once I put my 15-inch wheels on the car with some pretty grippy Kendas. So it's possible it's tire related, but since the sway bars have not been upgraded on this car, that's where I'm going first. When I first started chasing this, I was going after end link bushings and other things, and well, you can see I've got some new sway bar brackets. I don't know if it's an upgrade or superseded part, but I got those from Toyota. And you can see I've got Prothane bushings in here, and I learned that this is just an SR5 sway bar when I ordered bushings for a GTS one, because they don't fit. And if you didn't know, the SR5, that's the lower trim model in the US, that had a smaller diameter rear sway bar compared to the GTS, the higher trim, that actually had a thicker rear sway bar. And I don't have a GTS rear sway bar to try, and plus with those bushing issues, I said, we're just gonna get something better. That's when I went to Battle Garage and ordered me up a Cusco rear sway bar. And for the front sway bar, I went with this one that I had sitting around. This is from Godspeed. It's a 25mm front sway bar, and I think it's actually a knockoff of a Tanabe front sway bar that they don't make or sell anymore. Replacing the rear sway bar should be easy because I already have one on there. It should bolt on no problem. The front is where things are going to be interesting with the Just Engineering angle kit. It has provisions for a front sway bar end link, but the stock one is just a straight bar that bolts into the control arm. This just has a little tab on it, so I'm gonna have to come up with my own front end link design. That shouldn't be too difficult. Let's go ahead and start by removing the rear sway bar here. I do believe I have found my problem, and it's that. That's my issue. This right here is what I'm talking about might be my problem. These are a superseded bracket supposedly, but they everything moves really easy in there. So maybe that's my problem. But hey, that's a lot of fun colors down there. I also put in the Prothane bushings in here just because you're supposed to use the sleeve that goes through here from the original AE86 sway bar, which I no longer have, I tossed in the garbage, and the Prothane sleeve does not work in the bushings that come with this. So it now has Prothane bushings on that end, and that's okay. But now on to the front sway bar. The fun part of the front sway bar is you have to undo all of the stuff for your tension rod brackets to pull them down to put the sway bar on. Oops. Oh my goodness. Oh, God. Oh, my hand's stuck. I would really like to know who at Toyota... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Stay, please don't fall. Yeah, okay. Oh, I would like to know who at Toyota thought it was a grand idea. Actually, I just need one bolt right now. Get out of the way. Who thought it was a... Come on. Aha. When in doubt, use your head. Okay, come on, get in there. Start, you stupid bolt. Oh, you dumb. Who is the idiot engineer? Yes. I thought it was a good idea to put the sway bar through main suspension mounting components, the tension rods or control arms, anything like that. That was so dumb. Do I have to put you? Oh, yes, I do, don't I? Ugh. Okay, there's that. I just want to tell you how incredibly difficult this is. That sway bar is not light. I'm finagling everything around to try and get it to work. This is ridiculous. We're just gonna fast forward till this is bolted up. Okay, I reached a stopping point because there's some problems with my car, so I gotta order parts. Let me show you. This tension rod bracket for the driver's side, you know, it's got some dings in it, and I didn't think that was that big of a deal, but as I'm trying to bolt it up, I'm finding it's actually causing the sway bar to bind on it right in here, and I actually can't finish tightening it down because of that. And if you look in here, because of how it's bent, it's actually causing these two things to hit each other. So I need to replace this with a non-bent bracket. So I'm gonna try and find one of those. I mean, you can see like this, see this is nice and flat. And then on this side, you can see this is all like, like just all wavy. So that definitely needs to be replaced. And then also the rear sway bar brackets that I showed you, I gotta try and find some OEM replacements for these, because that's just, or used replacements, I mean, because that's just not gonna work. The sway bar should not move. It should not move that easily. So, okay. I'll be back later with some new parts. After a long night of thinking and research, I figured out the rear sway bar bushing bracket situation. Let me show you what I got here. This is the Celica Super and sway bar bracket, because that's what I have. It is different than an AE86 sway bar bracket in the way it's designed. Now this here, this is the, that's the bushing from the Cusco sway bar. It says 20mm on it right here. And then stamped on the side of it, or molded on the side of it, I don't know if you can see that, it says 15. So this is actually, I think, an OEM sway bar mount that they've actually kind of milled out or done something to make it larger for 20mm for the Cusco sway bar. The problem is, when you put it on this bracket, and it's all the way in, you can see there's a gap when it squidges down, right? There's actually a pretty good gap right there. And that's the problem, right? That just doesn't hold it in place well enough, and that's what causes that play. After doing a lot of research, I found an old forum thread that actually posted part numbers from Energy Suspension and Prothane for universal sway bar bushings that work with this rear sway bar and bracket, but you got to modify it a little bit. The gold sway bar bracket here, that's what comes with the energy suspension bushings. This is actually a little narrower, and the bushing, like these little shoulders on it, are a little narrower than the AE86 ones. So what you have to do is you have to grind off about a millimeter or two. It's not much. I just did it with the flap disc. It's not the prettiest, but when I put it on the bushing there, it's pretty tight. I probably did a little bit too much on some edges of it, but that should be okay. Now this is the 20 millimeter bushing. Here's the part number for those that are wondering. And I've already put one on the car, and it fits really good. I don't have it bolted down all the way tight yet, but see, you want a little bit of pressure put on that bushing. Not a lot, but just enough to hold everything tight. So sway bar can rotate, but it's not going to be bound up in there. So I think this is the right bushing, and this is what I found on these old forum posts. So that universal part number, this guy, that's the one for the 20 millimeter, and there's a bunch of different part numbers for different sway bar diameters. And if we look at the side profile here of these bushings, you can see that's a lot thicker down here than the Cusco one is. And it does look like it's a little proud, like it sticks out past the flange a bit, but I think that's actually what you want because it squishes down and holds it. It's just a little bit. So I'm going to use this. This is what the forum said, and we'll get that rear sway bar done. A couple days later, and the last parts have showed up, the tension rod mounts. And let me show you what I decided to go with. I don't typically buy many parts from T3. They have some business practices I don't necessarily agree with. They do copy a lot of designs from other companies. But these seem to be their own design. They check a lot of the boxes of what I was looking for that the stock ones just don't do. And primarily that thing is gone. Meaning I don't have to snake the sway bar through the mount. I should just be able to bolt it up, no problem, fingers crossed. This should be a lot easier, hopefully anyway, to put everything on the car. Now just to show you how bad this tension rod mount was for me, how bent it was, okay? Let's just look at that height difference. You see that? Oh my gosh. So this is way bent out of shape, which is what was causing the issues for the sway bar binding. So now hopefully with these, we shouldn't have that problem. It is extremely hot here, so I'm just gonna try and rush through getting these on, and I will show you what they look like once they're on the car. I've got them halfway bolted up, and this is a good stopping point to show you the benefits of these, as well as a couple little things that, they're such minor things, it could be better, but overall these are really good. First off, they are way stronger than stock ones, so that is awesome. And the main thing that really bugs me about the stock ones is having to pull everything out to put a sway bar on, and this way you just got to drop your control arms or your tension rod out like this, and you can remove and install the sway bar, no problem. My only two complaints with these is that typically when you fabricate something like this hole and peg style, you weld right here where it fits together. That's what is really common for doing boxed control arms on off-road trucks and trophy trucks. And they didn't do that. Like, they didn't weld where the peg is, and then when you look on the inside, I don't know if you can see that, but they welded on either side of where the peg is. So that's kind of weird. And then the only other thing is where the sway bar bolts in, there's like a reinforcement plate or pad, and then it's threaded on the upper portion. So you can see there's that pad that's welded in there. And the hole for these bolts to go through is the exact same diameter as what needs to thread in. So what ends up happening is as you go to put it in, they're not quite perfectly aligned, so the bolt like even binds going in just because of the powder coating and everything else. So it's like, man, if they would have made the hole just a smidge larger on that reinforcement plate, that would have been a ton better, but that's really kind of a minor thing. Of it's still bolted in no problem whatsoever. And even with my pretty tweaked front end, I mean, you can see that's a little squampus compared to that. Everything bolts up no problem. So I know I need to replace this. There's some other issues too. My frame rail is crunched right here. So I know I've had a multitude of issues going against me to try and get a front sway bar on, but overall, I think this is going to be a really good solution for me, unless Just Engineering comes up with something better, and then I'll swap out because I obviously am a huge fan of Just Engineering. They support me and I support them, and their products are fantastic. But until then, I will run these T3 ones because they're pretty good. And the last little bit here is the sway bar end links. This isn't perfect. These are actually just really cheap rod ends, and then the upper section of a Prothane front end link for an AE86. But this should at least get me tested. You know, they are a little bit different from left to right because I know my front end is tweaked and there's probably something with my alignment that will need to get changed, but we can at least go test out these sway bars. Driving down the road here, I really like the way this feels with the new sway bars. It's not that exciting as I'm just driving straight on the highway right now, but what I can tell is that when I'm turning, there's definitely less body roll. The car reacts a lot sharper, I think, and that's what's to be expected of a good set of sway bars. Now, there is some balance with sway bars because if you go too thick, it can cause problems, and the 25mm front sway bar I put on the front is arguably too thick. There aren't many options that are that beefy for an 8.6. I think it actually might be the beefiest because it's even hard just to fit the one that I put on. I couldn't imagine it going larger. So what happens is if you put too thick of a front sway bar on, it can induce understeer because it loads the tires more, the suspension works less hard essentially, and so the tires are taking the brunt of it. So it can cause the front end to wash out when cornering. Or if you go with too thick of a rear sway bar, it can actually cause the rear end to oversteer and kick out because it's doing the same thing for the rear. So there's definitely a balance to be struck, but the front sway bar is just what I had, and the rear sway bar is one that I've experienced with that I really like. I like Cusco products, and I actually run the same rear sway bar on my drift car. But the main thing I've been trying to solve is the car rubber banding, and I say that as it just feels like the car is just going like this back and forth on certain roads and certain areas that I'm driving, and I think that has been 100% sorted out. I'm about to get to the section of the highway where I know it's been a problem in the past. We'll see what it feels like now. So on this freeway transfer ramp from one freeway to another, this is where I really notice the problem, the rubber banding effect. I have one camera pointed forward and I'll kind of demonstrate what it feels like when it's a problem versus what it's doing right now. So as we're getting up to the ramp, this is what it felt like before. It just felt like the car was just doing this little bit of back and forth, and it was really annoying. Now, as we're going to swing around to the left here, let's see how planted it is compared to how it was before. Oh my gosh, there's something in the road. Oop. Okay. So if I were to take this corner before, the suspension was constantly loading and unloading, and now I can hold a pretty constant angle, no problem, because before it would just like blop, 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 blop. It doesn't do that anymore. Problem solved. I think that's all sorted out for the handling stuff on this. Car feels really, really good. And I think I can now focus on some of the other things and aspects of a street car that sometimes goes the track, like maybe a bucket seat. I got this old bride seat a while ago. It's pretty rough, but maybe I'll put that in, see how it feels, and refurbish it or something if I like it. Man, I'm just so happy to have this back at home, no longer stuck on lift. I mean, I was there for over a month waiting on parts. Not only did I do sway bars on it, but I also did rear axle bearings, and I changed my rear calipers and did some work on the handbrake and some other things to get it so I can take it to the track. And after I put the bucket seat in, I think that'll be pretty much ready to go. I just don't know when that will be. Unfortunately, I've got some other things, more serious things going on at home with family, some health complications, and yeah, I don't mean to bring anybody down, but it's just gonna probably be a while before I can do anything else on my cars is kind of what I'm expecting. So like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. All of that helps me out, and I could probably use the help right now. Thanks. And see you next time, whenever that is.